Mr. Torbitt, good afternoon.
Hello.
This is what the legendary Donald Trump, loving this poor bugger, comes in every week. This is what he said to Sir Keir Starmer and the reporters about Sadiq Khan. And Starmer, my friend, have a listen, have a watch.
I'm not a fan of your mayor.
Why not?
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But a nasty person. I think he's done. I think
he's a friend of mine, right?
No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
So quick as lightning, Sir Sadiq Khan, I struggle to say that to him, has come out with, I look forward to welcoming Donald Trump to London because you can see how diversity is our strength, not our weakness. What did you... Torbitt, bless him, he's been ill and he's come in for this. What did you make of... I can't even bring myself to ask. You don't know what to say, do you? I mean, I know they have to be kowtowing, but it's ludicrous, man. Here's something for you on a political thing. Lots of people have said this. We might have different views on certain things, but there are certain issues right now that are at the forefront of everybody's mind in this country, like immigration, like taxation, like the police, law and order. How come Donald Trump can identify the 4 or 5 things, like the farmers, like wind farms, which he describes as crap, that people are thinking, and our own politicians of all sides seem incapable? He didn't even mention the Tories, man. They're dead in the water, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they are. I think the PM's body language was very interesting, and you see that as soon as Trump speaks and he says something, the hands begin to tighten, and the look of, he cannot hide, he doesn't have a poker face, the look of panic on his face comes in, and you could tell he was thinking, I better just say something. I think what he would have been better doing is you let Trump say his piece, entitled to say his piece, and obviously him and the London mayor have got a lot of history going back many years. And you would just say, can I just say, Sadiq's a friend of mine, I'm really proud of the work he's been doing in London, that's why he's done 3 historic terms, blah, blah, blah. And, if Trump wants to have another go, he can do, but you've got it out in a very professional manner. It isn't all backslapping and weird and awkward.
Because he jumped in and Trump didn't even look at him and he went, well, Nigel Farage is a friend of mine. He doesn't give a toss, does he?
No, so I think it was weird. I will say they've done a pretty good job, because Trump said himself this afternoon, he says, I've only got good things to say about you in this country. And I think they've done well. I think this is why it was a bit overblown. We can't have Trump, I assume this was at play, we can't have Trump speaking when it isn't recess, when Parliament's in sitting, because he might say bad things about, freedom of speech. Donald Trump's someone that very bad with detail, right? He's not going to do a J.D. Vance like at the Munich Security Conference and know...
Yeah, but he touches... What I'm saying is he's got political antennae because he's a businessman. He knows exactly what people are talking about.
But even Donald Trump, with the love he clearly has for this country, and he feels a special affinity because of his own mother being from Scotland, is he going to come to UK's Parliament and slag the country?
No.
I don't think he would, and I think that's why it was a bit weird, him, being pencilled in for... when it was recess, and the idea that MPs might walk out. Any left-wing MP I've spoke to just wouldn't go. It wasn't about making a protest, or it's just silly. So, very weird scenes. I thought it was interesting Starmer's wife went.
I didn't know she was around.
Lady Starmer famously went on the original march against Donald Trump's first visit when he was with the blimp. And
maybe he's got her under his maybe Lady Starmer and the Donald will start some sort of friendship. That'd be great.
Apparently they previously bonded over family, him and the Prime Minister. So
how big is his? Interesting dynamic. And the Farage thing, let's make the point about the Tories. Not even bloody well mentioned the Tory party. As irrelevant now as they've ever been. I don't think literally, he didn't mention them. Now, obviously, Farage is his mate and all that. But he said it's between you and Nigel. that's extraordinary. If you're coming back tonight, you're thinking, what have I got to do?
Yeah, but
resign.
All you got to do is read a poll. For the last 12 months, it's not hard. And I'll be astounded if Donald Trump even knows who Kemi Badenoch is. And the longer she's there, I've said it before, she makes the Tories less relevant by the day. That's exactly where they are.
We spoke last week about the Bell Hotel in Epping in Essex. We talked about how there were other Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, up in Diss in Norfolk. Many people saying that what happened at the Bell is a signal flare for another summer of disorder. It's a year tomorrow that the horrors of Southport happen. Labour, the government, facing mounting pressure to shut these asylum hotels. The Tories wading in, nobody gives a damn. Where do these people go? This is why we need to get this bloody well organised. What are you going to do, put them in private housing? Back to my idea of that big boat in the Channel that's with people that are trained to make a decision. And you and I would probably disagree on this, but I don't understand why we're doing this. These people should be in detention centres if they're illegal and they haven't been processed. I don't understand it. It's outrageous.
It comes back to what I've said for a long time. I've written about it, I've spoken about it, and also to use the Prime Minister's words of this is a national security issue. Then why are we not stopping them coming?
Yes.
As I've said before, I believe in the moral duty of the strong helping the weak, and I think opening your arms to places like Ukraine and elsewhere that are under real risk, I haven't an issue with.
Me neither.
The same with Hong Kong.
But when people are taking the PISS out of you to the detriment of your own people, that is different to helping the rest of the world, isn't it?
I agree. And what is a national security issue is not being able to differentiate
Absolutely.
who is an economic migrant and who is potentially a genuine asylum seeker.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why we are not doing offshore processing.
Absolutely.
The French have offered it in the past to Boris Johnson. They were going to pay for it and let us put our own home office staff in.
I don't understand that either.
And I think that, for me, rather than, smash the gangs and all this bizarre stuff, stop the boats is, a much easier slogan to understand for Joe Public, who may not understand the intricacies of organised gang crime when it comes to human trafficking and otherwise. But I think the recent poll I saw was 40% of those... It might be 60% of those voting reform or intending to vote reform at the next election. The thing that irks them most is seeing the people cross the channel. That's the thing I pick up on. People don't always talk about the fact that 500,000 came in last year or X, Y, Z. They might notice a certain demographic change over time, and that I can understand. But the thing that immediately gets their blood boiling is turning on the TV every day and seeing people taking the mick. And they are taking the mick because even I sat there...
Of course they're taking the mick.
I sat there the other week and I try and switch off sometimes with some of this stuff. I had some breakfast channel on. I couldn't believe the size of the boat. The boats they're getting, it was like a bouncy castle.
Yeah.
And listen, don't get me wrong, it is a treacherous journey when the weather's bad, but I couldn't believe...
But and I think the reason that it's turned, and I'm being completely honest, there's a story about Birmingham Council today, and this is not... This is genuine, right? This isn't what Donald would call fake news. You see that on the telly, and then you speak to people in this country who are going... Well, I'm sort of missing out. I can't get this or I can't get that. Bankrupt Birmingham Council, about $1 billion in debt, is offering small boat asylum seekers hefty discounts on leisure activities, right? They're in the 7th month of a bin strike, right? There's rubbish everywhere. They're giving migrants 25% up to their passport to leisure migrant scheme, right? They get a fifth off the use of council swimming pools. Martial art classes are subsidised. Courses on trampolining, golf, gymnastics, football, yoga, squash and badminton sessions, and they're even offering Aston Villa tickets for £1. I'm not being rude, but we go back to it. As you said, you're watching that, listening to that, and you're going, who am I? These people who say, oh, these people who are criticising illegal migrants, you don't understand. Try explaining those stories to hard-working people now in their car who've been up since 6 o'clock. They'll laugh in your face, mate. They'll laugh in your face.
They will. I would say I don't think it's turned because you might get free yoga classes or get to possibly go and watch Aston Villa.
But when you can't see a doctor, man, and they're seeing a doctor there, I don't even like saying that, but I'm being honest. A doctor arrives at an asylum hotel within 24 hours. A dentist the same. And not me. I've paid into this for 20 years and I've waited 3 months to see a doctor. Not having it anymore.
No,
that's perfectly, to me, that's just common sense.
I agree, but again, I think me and you would hopefully agree. No one's coming here for, steak bakes from Greggs and that sort of type of
culture. But the list of things that you get has got to be preferable to a stale baguette and a French tent.
Yeah, no, I think it's the accommodation. It is. That's what I think it is. I think it's the fact that that because of certain human rights laws that you will be looked after in a sense and that you will have a roof over your head. And this comes back to the point of if you want it, we've got to get the bills down for this sort of stuff.
Completely agree.
You've got to have a sense of fairness in the country. And the thing that worries me, whether it be riots or otherwise, is there is such a distinct lack of community in many parts of our country because people feel... And actually, this plays into a broader economic narrative.
Social cohesion's on a knife edge.
But the social contract's broken as well. I think, of course...
But that's a really good word. And that's why those people, those mothers... out on the streets in Epping are not far right. They feel that their community is being affected. They have every right to say that.
Yeah, because they're going to have sons and daughters who, you know, I look back to my mum and dad. Mum was a cleaner, dad was a postie. They got a mortgage in the 90s. You're never getting a mortgage now as a postie and a cleaner together. There's just no chance. And that is where we're losing people all the time, regardless of governments, regardless of whatever. And immigration is a very obvious thing you can point to of going, what's the point? Why am I getting out and slogging my guts? And we've all done it. We've all worked jobs where you're up at the crack of dawn on minimum wage and then not getting home till late, or you've missed the last bus, and it's a thankless task. And I remember working in hospital, your hands full of stuff out the sink, you've got to clean up everything, you're on your own, people are taking the mick, and then you look at that. No, I totally get people's feelings, but again, it comes back to offshore. For a security issue, but also for the fact that there's got to be some level of organisation, because it is
I don't understand how a country cannot train 1,000, turned into a crack 1,000 number border force people who are trained to do these processes, not about pronouns and that rubbish, but these are the essential questions and parts, and we're going to make a decision. And if you ain't coming in, you're not going to stay in a boat or a hotel, you're going to a detention centre. And I'm going to build one that means that the message that will filter back to wherever is, it's not that easy and it's not so nice.
And do you know,
love him or loathe him, there's no problem in America now. You're not allowed in.
Well, actually, the polls are turning on his immigration stuff, and the problem with what Trump's doing is 0 people have come in illegally, but he said he was going to crack down on the worst of the worst. When you're getting, like, gay Ecuadorian hairdressers being hauled in as one of the worst, who's, I think, overstayed by a couple of months, that's not the worst of the worst, and that's turning off your swing voters as such. I like
what you did with the gay Ecuadorian hairdresser and the word swing, but we'll crack on.
Very good.
You see what I did there?
I didn't even notice. This is why you're on the big books, Jez, and I'm sat here, you know what I mean?
No, don't be ridiculous.
But no, I forgot my train of thought. He's totally thrown me off.
Now listen, you are very good, because he's been very ill, ladies and gentlemen. I'm off for 10 days now, which is going to devastate you, isn't it?
I enjoy coming in and speaking to you.
We love having you on, mate. You are always welcome. The excellent Matthew Torbitt here on Talk Drive Rack 20 to 6.